Oh, we were live for like 2 seconds and
No,
then.
I know. I shut it back down. I went.
Oh, did you?
That
Okay.
was the old one, and then I went. I shut everything down and came back. So we'll see if everybody comes back. We had up to 9. We were doing almost as good as last show. And really, once again, this is just a way of doing it without having to record or edit. We had 90 people watch the last live after the fact. Oh, that'll get us 1,000,000 views right there.
Yeah. With the puffers on the TVs. Yeah, say hi. Say hi. Yeah.
We just need to all show our puppies and we win. We win the internet. Isn't that how they do it on like OnlyFans?
Okay.
Only pause. Only pause.
Only pause. Yeah, show us your puppies. Nobody's watching right now anyway. So.
I know, that's why I brought it up.
No, Matt's watching.
Oh yeah, there he goes.
Say hi.
Yeah, hey Matt.
Say,
I don't know what happened. It's for whatever reason dropped us.
say hi. What's that? Look at him.
See the new puppy?
You can't have the miniatures. No. No.
Especially anyone that people are paying you to do.
That's right.
All right, once we're back up and running, you can go for game number 11.
Oh, we're past that, sir.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we are remnants. Sorry.
We it ended after that conversation for the remnants.
Oh, yeah, we did the 6 after the... How many times are we going to say Chris? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you're going with the
Well,
results.
we can give them a brief rundown of it. So the folks that missed out, the Pathfinders, the Paxton's Pathfinders won 4-1, and then the Pathfinders lose the Black Knight to the Warhammer. However, again, we have a 4-mech Slayer with the Orion getting all 4 of the remnant kills.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's an Orion, man. They're great mechs.
Well, I said this in the first season when we were talking about Orions as well. They're either absolute superstars or they go up like a Roman candle. They seem to have that either are fantastic or just die. So it's not a surprise that it did well. It's just a surprise that it wiped out an entire lance.
Yes, yeah.
Though with Chris M taking camouflage for that Thunderhawk, that's going to be a much harder mech to take out of the system. That's actually an amazing thing to put on with a C3I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here with my higher to hit and hammer you with gauze rifles, and you're going to hurt. It's going to hurt. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
It's just too bad that one wasn't there, mid-season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The big thing about it is I don't think he even thought of it. I think it was at the very last minute. He goes, well, this Thunderhawk keeps getting hammered. What am I going to do? Well, it's not going to move any faster. Right? And it doesn't move very often. Yeah, favorite weapon, gauze rifle. Excellent. Yeah. No, it's a perfect way to do it. So we've now completed week 9. Yeah, week 9's games. And we are now moving on to the middle of the show, where we're going to talk about the standings and how we see how they're going to play out for the A, B, C, and D playoffs. Not so much who's going to win, just A is already set. We already know the top 8 teams. And they're going to be Riston's Rogues, Kondo's Janissaries, the League of Robots, Abishai's Avengers, Neon Beatons, the Teddy Bear Parade, Kel's Keshik, and the first Dracons just barely slip in there, but they're non-catchable at this point. That's the top 8. Pretty much everybody down to 30, because we had one team drop out this season, or is it 2?
Only one.
2, I
Yeah,
do believe.
we lost 1 and gained 1. So
Yes.
we're at 31. So everything else of that is a complete up in the air. So for A side, who do you think is going to end up taking first place in A side? Because there is a very close run. We have 3 teams at 23 points, 3 teams at 21, 2 teams at 19, and 2 teams at 19. So the 19s cannot catch first place. However, the 21s could, and so can the 23s could get, obviously pass each other. Now, you two are both in A, so that's kind of unfair to ask you who might pass you in the playoffs, or going into the playoffs.
Easy. League of Robots.
You think the League of Robots will be first place by the end of the regular season?
I think so. Yeah.
Who's League playing next?
League of Robots is playing Condo's Janissaries.
Yeah, maybe.
Second and third place team are fighting against each other. And you're playing, Jeff, you're playing up against the OG. No, OG. You're playing against the Teddy Bears.
Teddy Bear Parade. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a tough game too. Those are two, like, we have every game in week 10 is a game of the week, game of the year game. Because we're looking at how important the positioning is right now. Me personally, I honestly think, Jeff, OG, you're gonna hold it. I think you're gonna still hold it because I think your team is you've done it just like you did last season. You've created a team that just flows and everything works so well together. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily saying you're going to win the A-side championship, but I think you're going to hold to the first place at the end of regular season. Not saying that Darren couldn't beat you. I just think that you're the team to beat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Jeff will remain in first place. And I think JP's going to remain in second.
Who does
And
JP
when
play?
Cal beats me, I can drop down and play Jeff again.
JP's playing Jared. He's playing the League of Robots.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be a tough game. They are exactly identical. The only thing that's different is that, for score-wise, is that JP has 1 bye win and Jared has 2 ties. So otherwise, they're points for and against. They both killed 27 mechs each. They both lost 14 mechs each. Like, everything's identical. So
Yeah.
they are so perfectly lined up. The only thing that would mess them both up would be a tie. And that would really screw up their points because then people could pass them. Like that way, the 21s could quite easily pass them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and Jeff, OG, you're still figuring that League of Robots is going to end up passing you?
Well,
and the only way they can is if they win
if they
and you
beat
tie
Condos.
or loss.
Yeah,
And you have to tie or lose.
it's true. Yep.
Which is why I'm really glad there is no ties in the playoffs.
No kidding.
All right, so now moving on to the B side. Now nothing is determined. We don't know exactly who's in there because there's still people that are down that would be in the C side group right now, who could potentially get into B. Me personally, I'm just looking at the score that right now. Paul has made a absolutely meteoric climb. He was down in almost last place like I was, and he has moved up to 12th place coming into the final week. He is only a couple of he's only a couple of points behind me. I have a bye week, so I'm getting 2 points, which puts me at 17, which means I'm definitely in B. But Corey only has to tie, and he and I are tied, and then he will beat me on points for and against.
And he's playing Matt, and that's going to be a really good game.
And Matt's 1 behind me. Like, 1 slot behind me. Like, it's the top of A. The top of B, is not going to be me. Because one of those 2 guys, unless they tie. Right? If they tie, then potentially I could slip past them, which I hope I don't. That's kind of a lame way to get top of a division. Paul can't even catch it with his 13 points. Because his best is 16 and I'm at 17. I think Matt's been getting kicked in the teeth a lot lately. He got pushed out of A. What's that?
He used up all of his luck.
I am going to say Ansgar's Outlaws are going to end up being top of B at the end of the regular season.
I think you're right.
If he can get that horseshoe reattached in there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Lee. I think Corey with the Outlaws will be leading B side.
I kid with Corey, but I'm blown away. He's a friend of mine. He came in. I expected him, in all honesty, in top half of C, and he blew all my expectations out of the water. he's done fantastic. His list came together in ways that he wanted it to, and he's playing it his way. So uh, I think he'll hold his top place in B as well. He's doing really damn good. I'd like to see Jay with his Wendigos come up, but I mean, he's playing Paul, isn't he?
Yeah, and unfortunately, he can't take it. Even if he wins, he'll only be at 16 points.
Yeah.
Right, and I'll be at 17 no matter what happens. So really, it's only in those top three. It's the 16, 15, and 14 with Matt, myself, and Corey.
Well, we all know your last half of the season was all fixed games, right? So you gave yourself the easier.
Yes, because I just tanked the first three games because it was fun. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to take the top of B to start to end the season because that, like I said, it means those guys tied, and that's no fun for either of them. For B, I think that's the right move. I think it's going to be Corey. Now, C and D are guesses. To be honest, there is so much room for movement. Really, if you just look at it, and you can actually just look and see who they're playing. Because Galen's got a solid team. Heather just played a darn good game against Phil. Carlos has got a great lance. Cal's in there. The Fox Knights, right? They're playing solid too. Right? They've had some stutters, but they've got a solid lance. I'm gonna say Heather's got a potential to do it. She just has to play a good game. She's playing Justin, right? So that's not an easy game at all. Justin's got a good lance. Like, I was worried when I played him. It was just a couple of maneuvers that he wasn't expecting. He's coming off losing to Brett, so he should be coming in a little bit angry. a little bit of bad luck. Galen's lance is quite good, but he's playing A side, right? He's playing the upper team for his last game. He is playing. He can't be playing.
He plays Gary.
Yeah, I've got this messed up. No, I don't have it messed up. Somebody else has it messed up because they've got Laura playing Max and Max playing Galen for the last week. So who is he playing for his last game?
He plays Gary.
So that's going to be a solid game. That's going to be tough. Clan versus the DCMS.
With the C3.
Yeah. So that's going to be a tight game. So Galen could do it as well. I'm actually going to say... I can actually say Cal's going to do it. Oh no, Cal's just in B right now, which he could drop down. But I'm going to go with Hamilton.
Cal won't be here for playoffs.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about where he places in the regular season.
Oh, for regular season?
Yeah, this is all just regular season predictions because we have no idea who's going to be in what department to be, or which division to be, other than A. We have no idea where anybody's going to be. Otherwise, it's wide open other than A.
Cal very well could be the top of C, but he could also stay in B.
Yeah, he could. I'm actually going to say Hamilton, Scott Hamilton.
I'm going to say Carlo.
Okay. Oh, and he's playing Jay. Ooh, that's going to be a tough game for Scott, for Mr. Hamilton.
Yeah, it'll be tough. It'll be tough for both of them.
What do you think, OG?
I think it's going to be a tough fight. Let's see.
I'd love to say that Alex has a chance, but he's mathematically out. Right? Even if he wins, he'll be at 12 points, and he's up against guys that already have 12 points.
Well, he also plays Brett, so
yeah.
I'm just trying.
He can beat his dad.
Oh, well, we know that.
Right? It's not his fault. His dad picks his mechs, picks his skills, and tells him how to play.
Oh no, no, we know that's not true.
He doesn't watch the show. I'm allowed to say anything I like. No, actually, Alex plays a very good game, and he's learned right from first season to now. It's only been 3 years that I've ever seen Alex play. He went from being very tentative to being very confident in his play. So yeah, no, he's if it wasn't for the fact that he's mathematically out of it, he could potentially be in the Seaside top. I think he has a definite chance of winning the Seaside Championship, but I
Oh,
he
yeah.
can't make the Seaside top.
I would say Carlo, but I know Carlo is playing Aaron next, and
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
I don't think Carlo's going to beat Aaron. I think Aaron's just going to run around shutting down his Nova by killing things.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the things that with this new scheduling system we do it halfway through, we split it up. If you start sliding, the chances of getting back up get harder. Right? Like that Laura's got kicked in the teeth by that split. Right? She won her first 3 games, got into the A side, and has just gotten beat on after that. So she's slid out of A, B. She's in C and just tentatively holding on to C, I think. So she's gonna have to work to get that. And
You know
her
what?
problem is she's got to play. Who's she playing last? Max.
I think I think Heather.
She could.
I think Heather.
Yeah, I just don't want to predict my own wife's taking the top of any division. It just sounds kind of fixed. But she good. She has a good lance. Like it's really solid. Like she fixed any possibility of wiping out because of firing a heavy gauze rifle by putting them on the quads. So, and that Blitzkrieg is a nightmare if it gets behind you.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to get shot in the back by a couple of medium pulse lasers and an ER medium. That's a problem. Even an ER large laser on some of those really fast mechs. But it's an LB-20X, right? The first round she hammers you in the back with it. I don't care what mech you are. You can be an awesome. It's with 20 points center torso rear. It's now open. And then the round after that, she hits you with the if initiative works out right. Now she's shooting you in the back with an LB at 20X cluster. Right? And she can make it to the other side of the board in 3 turns. Right? She has Mountaineer on the thing. It's just, hills don't mean anything to her. She has, what else did she take on that mech? It also has the ability, I think it now has a gunnery bonus with the LB-20.
Yeah, she's
Oh
got
yeah,
the-
hyperactive. If she runs, it's as if she walked.
Yeah, and she clan salvaged that Ultra to the LB, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Mainly because of the click factor and to get case 2.
Good choice.
Nothing drives me more bonkers than having one weapon on a mech and it be disabled because of a dice roll. Like it's one thing if it's a floating critical, okay, yeah, that happens, whatever. But when it's your attack roll and it just goes click and you're done.
Yeah.
Now it's an 11 hex charging machine.
And that's still very effective.
So now moving on to D, just so we don't take up the entire show with us talking about things that we actually have no idea whether this is the way it's going to work out. For D, I'm going to say if Chris M does not make it into C, he's going to be the top of D.
I'm going to say the same thing about Laura. If she doesn't make it into C, she'll be the top of D.
Yeah, and she's absolutely capable of doing that. I just see Chris's lance with the
Camouflage?
potential that Lance has had all season. Like I'd love to say John would be, but he won't, right? Because even if he's only got 3 points, he can't catch the top of D even. Right?
Actually, where's Justin at? Where's Tin Man's at? Who's he
Justin
playing?
is in D, is in C,
He's in C?
with a very small chance of making it into 16th is 12. No, he can't make. Oh, he could potentially pull into B, but probably he's in C.
Yeah, and he's playing your wife next.
Yep.
Huh.
So if we're saying that Heather is potentially the top of C, we're saying she's not losing to Justin tomorrow or on Sunday.
Yeah. And if that's the case, Justin very well could be top of D.
Yeah, he's got a good lance. Oh yeah, we have actually people in T that have better lances than what their records show. Like,
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure.
There's no lance there's lances I don't understand. I didn't understand Brandon's until I played him. Right, I didn't see where he was going with his mech choices. The Night Sky seemed out of place with the rest of his lance. It just seemed like that mech was going out to get killed, while his other 3 mechs were standing still. The thing is that I just realized what he's doing is he's just pointing at one mech and going, that mech dies this turn. Oh, it didn't die. It moved out of the way. I'm going to kill that mech. And the Night Sky's there just to annoy people and go in and try to take kills. Distract people and make them move.
as a
So,
medium harasser should be doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a good mech. It's a good lance. I didn't see it at the time, but yeah, there's just certain that I don't understand. Like Chris C's lance, I don't really understand it. It doesn't mean it's not doesn't have skill. He's won a few games. Matter of fact, Chris C is at 3 wins, right? So he's actually getting close to having a pretty solid season.
And then we got John, whose lance should be an A side.
Yep. There's some flaws in that lance, but just pure out and out firepower and accuracy, it's an A side lance.
The only real flaw I see in John's lance is his battle cobra, and if I was him, I would have chassis upgraded or swapped into something better.
Yeah, and it's all personal choice.
Yeah.
I've talked to John and said one of the things I wouldn't have done would have been used the faction tech on the battle cobra.
Yeah.
They used it on the Daishi and kind of ended up with what he ended up with the Daishi now, and they used engineering on the battle cobra to get an XL engine and get some more tonnage and put stuff in those torsos to protect that center torso. Because at least 3 or 4 times this season, he's been taken out by 3 engine hits that transferred from a torso into his center torso.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to lose a mech early when you're the clanners.
No.
Not your medium, your heavy, or your assault. Once you lose one of them, you're at such a huge disadvantage from that point on, because your elementals can't fill in the spot.
They do not bad, but they're not no medium mech.
Well, they're not a mech, right? What they're great is they are kind of like a force multiplier. If you can get them in among your enemies, they have to deal with them. You can't ignore elementals. Right? They're going to cause your life misery if you ignore them. All right. So I'm going with Chris M for top of D. You're going with who, Jeff?
I'm gonna say Justin.
Okay.
With Laura following soon behind, but it'll be Justin, I think.
That's if either of them don't make C.
Yeah.
And OG?
No, I think Laura's going to make C. So I think D side's going to be. Yeah, I think Chris M.
I think his lance is really solid, and Comstar with a good combination of skills and dice rolls are almost unbeatable. All right, so that is the end of us just babbling and being kind of just making our best guess work. And next week we will give out our prediction. Next show we will give out our prediction percentages, and you can see that we're mostly just guessing. I've taken a look at it, and it's not pretty. Though I think the championship's once again going to go to the special commentator, but we'll see. Things aren't completely decided yet. Well, we're moving on to week 10. Week 10 shows us the absolute best games of the season. We have game number 1, the Thumpers with 3 wins, 6 losses, 0 ties, up against Abishai's Avengers, 7 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. This is one of those absolutely horrible imbalance games. Now, there is some hinting that the Abishai Avengers may not be able to show, but I'm going to assume that they are showing, and I am going to say the Abishai Avengers are going to win. He's just methodically tromps on people. And I think it's going to be... I think Laura's going to stand up to him, and it's going to be a 4-2, but it's going to be the Abishai Avengers.
And you're right, it is kind of lopsided. Max's game and his just sheer damage output he can put out of that lance is a massive threat. I think it'll be a 4-1 for Abishai's if it actually comes to fruition.
I think you're right, Lee. It's going to be an Abishai 4-2. Laura's a very good player, but I think the Abishai is just has that slightly more tactical-minded play style.
Very determined. He knows
Yes.
what he's going
Yeah.
to do every single turn, from
Exactly.
even a couple of turns ahead.
And his mechs all put out a lot of damage with
Yes.
those heavy PPCs.
Yeah, it's like running around with a bunch of gauze rifles.
Crazy.
Yeah. You either have to do enough damage to him before he gets close enough to use them, and they do reach out 18 hexes, so it's not like it takes long for them to get within range. Or you got to do stuff like what you did, OG, and just mess up one of his mechs early with a gyro hit. Right. Game number 2. We have the Pit Vipers. 4 wins, one of them being a bye. 4 losses and a tie. Up against the Kells Keshiks. 6 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. Well, I can't speak out against you, Jeff. I was saying this before. I think you are an A-side contender to win A-side. The Pit Vipers are a very good lance, but I can't back down now at the very end. I'm going to say you win this, and you're going to put pressure on those top 3 teams to hold on. And if any of them lose, you're going to pass them. I'm going to say you're going to win. It's going to be a 3-1.
All right. 3-1. I'm not going to lie, the Fafnir on Fafnir and his Fafnir outranges and outguns my Fafnir. However, I do put out a lot of heat. So,
Which is the one thing you can't do to that Fafnir. I don't think you can overheat it.
no, you can't overheat the Fafnir, but you can overheat the Thunderbolt, and you can overheat the Marauder.
Mm-hmm.
A hot running Marauder to begin with.
Yeah.
And
And remember, his Fafnir is slower than poop, just like yours.
Yeah.
Right? So if anybody, those other mechs are going to be ahead of him. Right?
Oh, yeah. And the Assassin, but the Fafnir can stand back and shoot. So.
It's a hellbox.
And then he's got the Fafnir, which I think this will be the first thing I've come up against this season where it can outmaneuver me. However, I think just experience and years of gameplay will factor in here. And I'm going to say for myself, but I'm going to give it as a 4-2. With me losing by Fafnir, 100%.
4-1 Keshik.
No reasons given. Just that's it.
Yeah, 4-1 Keshik.
Oh, and just so everybody knows, Brett didn't get any predictions in for this week, so we win, Jeff. Woo! No matter what happens, we did better than he did. So
I always win.
He'll just put them in the YouTube channel afterwards, right? Here's my predictions.
he could. He absolutely could. Game number 3. We have the Teddy Bears Parade. 7 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. Up against Riston's Rogues. 7 wins, 0 losses, 2 ties. Well, it's the same thing I said before. I've been talking both of you up all season. And Darren, that cocaine bear is such a scary thing. But you have the skill that takes advantage of that, right? Your tech takes advantage of it, Jeff. It doesn't matter how close he gets. You can be closer than he can in first round 1.
Exactly.
By round 3, you're at short range with your big guns. This one's is probably going to be the game of the week, maybe the game of the year, because it's going to decide who's first place. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm going to say it's going to be big destruction, so it's going to be a 4-something. It's going to be 4-3 for you. Or it's going to be a complete, 4-0, one-sided, depending upon dice. But if you guys actually have to slog it out, it's going to be a 4-3.
I think this one's going to be... I've been saying it all along. I've never called against Jeff, not even in the game that him and I played.
It's safe money.
I'm going to say it's Jeff, and I think it's going to be a 3-1.
I'm going to call for a 2-2 tie. No. I actually don't know.
It's a tough one to call because he's got a damn good lance.
Yeah, he's got a pretty decent lance, yeah. And he puts us just as much damage as I do, so.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, well, it's clan. He better.
Yeah.
The big thing about it is whether or not your C3I and your, to be more importantly, your Haywire pods and your ECM pods and stuff like that, what those do.
I'll say a victory for myself, and we'll go 2-1.
2-1? Mm-hmm. You guys aren't fast enough to avoid death.
Maybe we're gonna slope. No.
Oh, whatever, 2-1. That's your bet.
We're gonna spend a lot of time talking about the old times because I've known Darren for years, but haven't seen him for years, right? So
Yep.
we might occasionally roll dice.
Game number 4, we have Cat's Cavalry. With 4 wins, 3 losses, 2 ties. Up against Ansgar's Outlaws. 5 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. Now, I think I said earlier that I figured Ansgar's Outlaws were going to be the top of B. I believe I'm right on that. Of course, I throw paper away. I have no idea what I'm talking about now. But I am going to keep... Yeah, I am going to keep it that Ansgar's Outlaws are going to kill Matt. They're going to beat Matt only because of the fact that I'm just following through with what I said before. I don't like that longbow. I just don't. As many times as he keeps pulling it out and as many times as he actually does well with it, I still don't like it. It's just way too hot. And I'm an MML fan, and I just think it's not going to work. I don't think you can make mistakes up in A-side.
No.
I'm going to say it's a... and I've seen what has happened to him against clanners and all that before. Once he starts getting slowed down, bad things happen. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-2 for the Ansgar Outlaws.
This one here, I know you were saying earlier that game of the week is going to be Jeff and Teddy Bear Parade versus Rist and Drogue. I think this one is game of the week for no other reason than there's a gentleman's bet riding on this that whatever map they pull, the other one, whoever loses, has to pay to have that map renamed to if Cat loses, it's Cat's Folly, or if Ansgar loses, it's Ansgar's Folly. And because this is what I'm calling his game of the week, because that's a heck of a bet to throw out there. Who's the best merc? And here's the downfall of or the upside of victory. I also believe that Ansgar is going to pull this one out, and I think it's going to be a 3-2.
He's putting thought into this one.
Well, I did call Ansgar's for winning B-side, so I guess I got a call for Ansgar's to win this too.
It's going to be tight. Their standings are close. Right?
Yeah, it won't help if I call it for him to lose. Then he's not going to be winning B-side if he loses it.
Yep.
I think we'll see an Ansgar's Outlaws win. I think. Yeah, I think it's going to be I think Jeff is right. I think it's 3-2.
Game number 5, we have Neon Betons. 7 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. Against the Alshane Regulars, 4 wins, 1 of is a bye win. 4 losses and a single tie. A little bit lopsided again. We got a team that's barely lost all season and a team that's kind of struggling to try to hold on to, and I'm pretty sure not in the A side. I like to stomp on Aaron as much as I can, but how can you when his lance is doing as well as it is? Aaron's got to win this, and if he doesn't, I'll be very surprised. But it's a dice game. It happens to everybody. I think it's going to be a 4-1, because I think his Warhawk's going to, again, just hammer on people. And that camouflage skill makes a massive difference.
I love calling for Carlo because I do actually like his lance. But in this situation, Beaton's he's proven himself over the last 2 seasons prior, and sorry, I'm getting puppy supplies handed to me by my wife. I apologize. And he's sitting in A side pretty with that Warhawk sitting right there on Killer's corner, looking to take out that Flashman. And I think Beaton wants that Warhawk to take out that Flashman out of first place. And I think we're going to see him, unfortunately, rain death on Carlos Lance. And I think we're looking at a 4-1 for Beaton.
Yeah, Beaton's going to make A side very difficult for people. That camouflage is going to make a big problem. Even if it wasn't as powerful as it is, having an assault mech with the firepower it has, being able to just stand there and be protected until such time as you go and get it, it's won quite a few games without a single point of damage.
Yeah, but you don't know. When you come to playoffs, you might get a map that has no place to have camouflage, right?
Or a real inopportune place.
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of the map. Well, everybody's right on top of you anyway. Right.
Very true. Very, very true. No, I think...
Excuse me, guys, 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think we'll see a Neon beat on win against the regulars. Yeah, I think we're going to see maybe 4-2, though. Carlo does have a really good lance.
He does.
So.
He does. I'm not knocking Carlo. I'm just saying that
exactly.
Aaron's lance is very solid. Right. That's the big thing. You're not underestimated. You just made a bad mech choice there, Matt. Should have learned from Laura. So, game number 6, we have Fox. I'm trying not to say a bad word. Fox Knights, 4 wins, 1 being a bye win, and 5 losses with 0 ties, up against Wendigos, Night Stalkers, with 4 wins, 4 losses, and a single tie. This is one of those games that is great because they're so close in the standings. Like their lances are very close to the same scores, which is cool. It's good to see that the random generator was able to do this. I'm going to say I like both these teams. I like both their lances. This is Jay with the Wendigo Night Stalkers. I watched them. It's Jay with the Wendigo Night Stalkers. I'd hate to say the wrong. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes,
they're the ones that came out here and did really mean things to Heather's lance.
Yeah.
I like his lance a lot. The heavy PPCs, it's almost like looking at Abishai's Avengers lance, except a few less heavy PPCs. I think Fox Knight's got it in him. I think he could do it. I think he can win this, and I think he can do it with a 3-2. If you vote against Jay, I'm going to be very disappointed in you, Jeff.
Wendigos can counter Fox Knights because it does have some ECM in there. And he's got more damage output in overall when you look at it. He's got 4 heavy PPCs. He's got 4 PPCs. He's got 4 SRM 6s. He's got, I don't know how many medium lasers, but a pile of them. And he's got the mobility and ability to use them well. And if you look at his skill picks are solid. Fox Knights got C3I. Hamilton's a little bit newer. Jay's got probably about, I'd say it's 15 to 20 years experience playing. So, I have to call for my boy. I love this lance. It's hands down my favorite lance of the season.
The only thing I can say against what you're saying, though, is look at the standings.
I know.
So
I know.
their standings show that they're that tight. So 15 to 20 years experience doesn't seem to mean much when the dice aren't going your way.
No, and I love Jay to death, but Jay his dice are either good or they are absolutely horrible. So it comes down to what his dice are feeling that day.
See if he gets back 21 or not.
Yeah, yeah, he's I think that he's got it in him to take this one, and I'm going to call for Jay, and I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-2.
I am sticking with my boy of Comstar over here, so I'm going to go with the Fox Knights. I think we are going to see I agree with the 3-2. Actually, it's kind of a safe call, I guess, but I think
It's a
we
win
are
for
gonna
one
see
side or the other, but neither
Yeah.
team got walloped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a walkover by either team, but
The biggest thing about the C3 I system against heavy PPCs, in my opinion, on this, and PPCs, is the fact that that guy can stand at medium range from you and bring short range from the rest of his lance. Right? For anything, Gauze rifles, LRMs, ERPPCs, stuff like that. It's maneuvering that's going to be very, very important for the C3 and C3I lances to do. And it looks like Hamilton's been doing a pretty decent job this season of using that.
he has been.
But and you, like you said, your boy's got a great lance. It's very solid, heavily armored, hard to kill.
Yep.
So game number 7, we have the Condos Janissaries, 8 wins, one of which being a bye win, 1 loss, 0 ties, up against the League of Robots with 7 wins, 0 losses, 2 ties. Now, on paper, they are exactly the same, other than their bye win and 2 ties. They are exactly the same points, overall points. They're exactly the same number of kills against, exactly the same number of kills for. The only difference in their standings is that bye win or 2 ties. And as Jeff likes to say, ties are not wins, they're non-losses. So I'm going to say Condos Janissaries are going to continue doing what they're doing. They're going to win. It's not going to be a flashy win. It's not going to be a overwhelming victory. I think it's going to be a 3-2 again, just because there's only so many options when there's 8 mechs on the field. And I think it's going to be a solid game, but Condos Janissaries are going to end up taking it. Mainly because of the amount of experience JP has at league play, as well as the fact he's 2-time league champion. That doesn't happen by fluke.
I think this one's going to be a 4-3. My big question is for who? And I know JP is wily, and he is a tough opponent. But Jared is a numbers guy, and he calculates his numbers before he does his moves, and he knows what he's going for, and he's going to take the best shots he's got. I think it's going to be a 4-3. Don't get me wrong, JP does the same thing, but
he looks past the numbers. That a really good player can do that. The numbers are already in their head before they do their move.
Yeah. JP, I think that we're going to see, and I hate saying this, but I think we're going to see League actually have an upset here and pull a 4-3 victory over JP, and it's going to be something stupid like last mech, propping and firing, last turn, and just gets that hit where it needs to be.
I think we're going to see a Condos win. JP is having, crap dice. Let's face it. His dice.
You said this last year about you and him
Yeah.
last year, but you guys are still at the top of the league. How can you have crap dice and win?
Tactics.
No. Tactics only carry you so far. If you can't hit and your opponent can, you're
Tactics
losing.
and being able to hit in areas.
Okay,
you're gonna get lucky and double up.
No. I'm sorry. You cannot have crap dice and win. You can have crap tactics and
Hey,
win.
listen.
You cannot have crap dice.
When you only have like a 40% hit rate.
Who's joining us? Oh, hello.
You need
how
actual
is this
tactics to
loser?
have good tactics.
Oh, that guy showed up. Glad to see you're here.
Oh, and then he leaves.
Hey, get back here. We're live. Come back. Anyway.
Now he joins again.
The thing with what's going on here too with League and Condos, I'm not going to lie. Part of the reason why is I want Jared to win, so I have a chance to play Jared. I've already played JP, but where we're sitting right now, if he moves up and I stay where I'm at, I get to play Jared in first round of playoffs, and I haven't done that yet. So
That's assuming though that first person plays eighth person.
They do.
That's usually how it goes.
They do.
We might play something totally different. We did a different way of seeding this year, so
Yeah, we're not screwing with that. That's standard playoffs.
first person could play fourth person, and fifth person could play eighth person.
First place, second, third place, fourth.
Just eliminate the top guys right from early on. Yeah. You could do it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You could. You could do it first, second, third, fourth. But we haven't even discussed that. Why would you do that to me? Bring that out now.
Aha.
I see a new puppy.
Yeah.
When's she coming over to my house?
After she gets her second set of shots.
Make sure she has her kennel cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you introduce dog to new animals. So,
Jeff, sorry, I didn't give Laura a number there. I think it's going to be a Condo Janissaries win, and I think it's going to be a
you warm up, but then you squirm.
A 3-2.
So, Brett, do you want to put in your predictions for the rest of these with us, and then you can just post the ones that you want? So, what do you think about Janissaries? Woo, Janissaries versus League of Robots?
I'm hoping League of Robots wins, just cause.
Screw you, JP.
I think it's going to be 4-3, though. It'll be last man standing, whoever gets the last hit in.
Which is exactly what Pedro said. Yeah. I have more faith in Janissaries' overall luck and overall tactics. He's a darn good player. I like how he plays. He seems to have some bad luck against certain people. Like, I've beaten him a few times when I've played him. He cannot beat Cress M when it matters. So it's just, but otherwise he plays a solid game. Like, you can't. I don't think I've ever seen JP make an actual intentional mistake. Or unintentional mistake, like just wrong movement, wrong whatever. Usually it's something dice goes wrong, or something catches them like really queer, right?
Somebody does something completely unexpected, which doesn't happen very often.
Yes, yeah. Somebody who might as well just rolled randomly where their mech was going to go. All right, we're going to move on to game number 8. We have the Kenkazi, 3 wins, 4 losses, 2 ties. They're up against the Red Suns Irregulars, 4 wins, 4 losses, and a single tie. This is Galen versus Gary, and as I've always said, Gary is my favorite player in League. I've loved his lance right from word go. The two Jeffs, I love your lances. I've always loved your lances. Gary's my guy, though. I don't know why. His lances have always entertained me. They're always well built. I'm going to say Gary's going to win this one, and he's going to win it rather resoundingly with a 4-2. By about turn 4, it's going to be pretty much decided.
I don't think you're giving Galen quite enough credit here.
I'm not shooting Galen down. Sorry, the way I said that, it sounded like I was shooting Galen down. Galen's got a good lance. Overall, there's like I said earlier, everyone has a good lance. Gary's lance impresses me.
Gary's lance is good too. Galen has that C3 advantage. And he's got I don't know, his lance did come together. We couldn't see it at the start of the year, but it really came together.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's going to be Kenkazi victory, and it's going to be 2-1.
You think it's going to be a lot of maneuvering?
I think it's going to be a lot of maneuvering. I also know Gary likes to plant that Daishi, and you can't do that when you're playing against C3. If you plant, you're
unless you just eliminate every spotter that comes near you, and the climbers have range to do that.
That is a possibility, but his spotters are all coming in with jump capable and high movement.
Yep.
And that's higher target numbers to hit. And do you take the higher target numbers on a spotter, or do you take a safer number on something else?
I don't know. He's got what? Pulse lasers and gauze rifles linked to targeting computers. I don't think you can move fast enough to avoid it.
The pulse lasers and gauze rifle is with anticipation.
Which, okay, -1 off the movement of the fast mover.
You got your spotter and a wraith that's going to have a +4 to a +6.
So 1. Which is a 1 to a 3 at short range.
Yeah.
I would dump 45 points of damage into a wraith on 7s any day.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
but we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
think
and I could be completely wrong, right?
I think
I'm
there's going to
guessing.
be a whole lot of maneuvering on
Yeah.
Galen's
Oh
part.
yeah.
And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of damage thrown out because of it. That's why I'm saying
Yep.
to
Yeah,
win.
yeah, exactly. He's got to try to get to that right position for spotting. Otherwise, that Daishi's going to make him pay for sticking his nose out.
Yeah,
And it could be a lucky dice roll from the Atlas and dead Daishi, right?
really. Holy shit.
So it could totally be a different. I just think just the way I think Galen's or not Galen, Gary's lance is potential. The reason why I say by turn 4 it's going to be somewhat decided because Galen's going to be down a mech, and it's going to be an important one early.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's just my prediction. It's my thought. So, Jeff, with OG, what's your thoughts?
Red Suns win 4-2. Galen has a good lance. I think Gary just has the better lance.
Red Suns 4-2 unless somebody makes a tragic error in judgment early on.
Yeah. Or a fantastic dice roll.
Yeah.
Although I really like Kinkazi's Marauder. I like the mod change that he did to it with the 2 LB10s and the PPC on it.
I think that's
It's
really a neat
solid.
move. Yeah, I think that's a really neat move. Yep.
I really like it. I think it's a great Marauder change, right?
It's one of the best we've seen.
Yep.
All right. Game number 9. We have the half cut. 4 wins, 4 losses, 1 tie. Up against the Remnants. 2 wins, 6 losses, and a single tie. Paul's been on an upswing. He's been playing great the last 5 games. Chris has been having, once again, just like last season, the worst luck. I've never seen him and John have the worst luck of dice I've ever seen. Hands down. However, I don't know if Paul is ready to deal with that Thunder Chicken having camouflage, as well as the range benefits it's going to get from spotting.
Yeah, Thunderhawk is going to be hard to dig out because it's going to be sitting at long range with +4 defensive for being at long range, another +2 for being in cover, +3 because it'll have to be at least minimum light woods as well, right? So
The biggest thing is that Paul's got 2 mechs that can make it to the other side of the board in 2 turns.
That's great, but they can't take the hits to survive it, though.
Well, the Dragon absolutely can't take the hits. Though the Dragonfly H he's got with, was it 3 or 4 heavy medium lasers? Like that's a pretty big punch. I just don't know if it can survive. Like you said, it takes a gauze rifle and it's done. Right? I'm gonna say, I think Paul's got a chance of taking B-side, top of B-side. If he wins this, I'm gonna give it to Paul. I promised Chris I'd stop predicting that he'd win, but that's not the reason why. I just think Paul's got a lance that's on the upswing. Paul's going to win it, and he's going to win it knowing Chris's luck. It's going to be a 4-1. I don't want to say it that way, but I think that's what's going to happen.
I love both these lances. I love calling for both these players, but I have to call for Paul just on the basis of speed and maneuverability, and the hitting power that Warhawk has. And with that exploitability, which he's figured out how to somehow use with that Warhawk, I think that's going to play a major factor in this, especially when you got mechs like the Avatar with problems standing up because of arm actuators and stuff like that. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-2 for half cut.
I'm going to call Remnants.
Because I called against it. Yeah.
No. I'm gonna say the Remnants, and I'm gonna say it's a 3-2. So I'm calling for Comstar, baby.
His lance
Pay your bills, fuckos.
His lance has everything to be a championship lance. It does. It's the Warhammer's a great lance, and or a great mech. He moving up from the Rifleman to that Warhammer was a great move, right? The Rifleman was just a placeholder.
Oh yeah.
The Thunderhawk was right from the get-go a great mech, and he's just had zero luck. Like, how can you go wrong with those mechs? And it's just his luck takes 2. What was it? A medium pulse laser and a medium laser to the head of the Thunderhawk or the Thunder Chicken with like bad numbers to be hit and dies. Right. cascading Gauss rifle. I don't know, it wasn't cascading Gauss rifles, but just Gauss rifle falls down, hits another second Gauss rifle, just garbage for him.
Yeah.
What do you think,
So
Brett?
this one's going to be a tie. It is going to be a 3-3 tie. Paul is going to get ahead early. It's going to be 3-2, and Paul's going to be like, I can finish that Thunderhawk, and he's just
With
not
a
going to be able
charge.
to. He's going to try and close with it to try and finish it off.
No physical
and the
attacks. He's
Thunderhawk
promised
is going,
this season.
Yeah, because he's playing clans. But no, he's going to be up ahead in the game, and instead of hanging back and trying to make the Thunderhawk come out of the trees to him, he's going to try and close with it, and it's going to pick him apart as he does, and then time's going to run out, and it'll be a 3-3 tie. Or the Remnants will pull out a 4-3 win. But I think it's going to be a 3-3 tie at time.
Definite possibility. Game number 10, Fenrir Frostfangs. 2 wins, one of which was a bye win, 6 losses, and a tie. Up against the Ghosts of Gunberg. 3 wins, 5 losses, and a tie. Will didn't get his skill spends in, so he's lost 10 points of skills. I think
Out of 30, that's going to hurt.
it's a third. Like he's sorry, Will. I'd love to say you're going to win this. You and I had a great game. You played it right to the thing, right to the end. I got lucky with my Jaeger mech taking out those 2 mechs. I think the Ghosts of Gunsberg just have the skills, and they've had time to get their feet under them. I think they're going to win this one, and they're going to win it. I'm going to say 3-2.
I'm in agreement. Goes 3-2. Missing out on those last 10 skill points, that's going to hurt the Frostfangs hard.
I'm jumping in place. Ghosts 2-1. Oh, geez, either deep in thought or he's lost.
I'm seeing him
deep in
blinking, so he's not frozen. We know that.
No, I was reading something else. I think I'm going to vote for Will. I'm going to go with the Frostfangs.
If they can pull out a win with being 10 skill points behind,
Then apparently we're giving too many people points.
Give it 20 points.
I think it's going to be a 2-1, though.
All right, game number 11. We have a father-son revenge fight. The Wolf Pack with 3 wins, 1 being a bye win, 5 losses, and a tie. They're up against Daddykins, the first Dracons. 6 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. The team that snuck into A. I am going to say, Dad, you're still going to whoop his butt. He's a B-side champion, but you're still Dad. You can threaten him all you want about him having to. Oh, he drives now too, so you don't have to. You can't force him to walk to work. I think you're still going to beat him though. I think your lance is a little bit better, and Alex has just not gotten the feel for his lance like he does most seasons. And it's going to be a 4-2 because you like to lose 2 mechs.
Yep, 4-2 for first Dracons because Brett likes to lose 2 mechs. And one of them's going to be lost by like 30 fucking piloting checks, falling over, feeding himself, and knocking himself out. Yeah. Pilot damage.
I bought piloting on that mech, and it still failed 3 piloting checks this last game.
How on earth did you take that skill away, that inability away from me? Like that is absolutely brutal.
It's my this season kryptonite.
Yeah, you know what? I think we are going to see Brett win this one because I think he's just going to frustrate his own kid like he does normally. And he's just going to get annoyed with you, and he's just going to start making mistakes. But I don't think it's going to be a 4-2. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think maybe a 4-3.
I have to comment there, James, you're absolutely right. The bane of everyone is PSRs in League. The big thing I got to say on that is I am known for wiping out at the worst time, but will I take a piloting skill? No, I just simply don't. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's my handicap, right? Some people
knows he's bad at it. Won't actively try to correct it.
Beaten. Low elite 4-2 close game.
Hey, they can be very close games at 4-2.
Lee calls every game as a close game. It could be a 4-0, it could be a 4-3, it could be a 4-1, it could be a 3-3 tie. It's a close game. It could be a bye win. It's a close game.
If he had shown up, it could have been a great game.
Alex definitely doesn't have the lance that works for him this year. Season 1 worked a little better. Season 2, he had exactly what he wanted for a lance, and it just worked for his playstyle. This year, he wanted to try something different, and it just didn't come together for him. I think this is probably going to be a 4-2, just because I will lose 2 mechs. It's just the way it's going to happen. But I don't think the kid has it in him to take out 3.
And this is where Cal like upset.
and he's got Alex has a lance. Like, it's not like it's a bad lance. It's nobody in League has a bad lance.
No, we wouldn't allow that. We wouldn't let them.
Yeah, we would help them
bad
out.
lance.
Yeah,
Brett has a bad lance.
What's that?
Brett has a bad lance.
I don't have an awesome lance.
He's got mechs with faulty actuators in the legs.
But I still didn't bring a Jaeger mech.
Moving on, game number 12. We have the Tin Man's Tin Cans with 3 wins, 1 being a bye, 5 losses, 1 tie. They're up against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels, 4 wins, 2 being bye wins, 4 losses, and a tie. Well, I'm saying Heather actually has a chance of being in B. I think she has a chance of making it into B, or being, you were saying there, OG, that you're thinking she might be the top of C. I think Heather's going to win this one. I think her Gauss rifles are going to be the difference. I know Justin likes to sit back a little bit and then move his other 2 up forward. I think those 2 mechs are going to get lost. I think they're going to get hammered. His Phoenix Hawk 3PL's got great accuracy, especially with that Clan Large Pulse Laser it has now. Bye, Brett. His Battlemaster, on the other hand, with its Rack 5, has to get in close, and if that thing dies early, they're in trouble. And parking with that Blitzkrieg running around could be a big issue. I'm going to say the Blitzkrieg are going to win this one, and it's going to be a 4-3. I think it's going to be right to the end, and it's going to be bitter.
I think you're right on that. I think it is going to be right to the end, and it's going to be bitter. And I also agree it's a 4-3 for Blitzkrieg. As much as I'd like to see Justin pull it out, because I love Justin's lance, but it's 4-3 Blitzkrieg. Tight game, right to the wire.
I think it's going to be 3-2 Blitzkrieg. Sorry, Justin.
Are you? There he is.
I was busy with the dogs.
Okay.
I'm also sorry, Justin, for the game that we just played. Who's Justin playing?
Heather. Blitzkrieg Jezebels.
Oh. I want Justin to win this 3-2. But I think Heather's got a better grasp on how to get it done. I'm still voting for Justin 3-2.
Yeah. I just think that Battlemaster is going to eat heavy Gauss rifles and go down early, and that's going to put him at a back pedal that I'm not sure he's going to be able to recover from. The biggest problem is going to be that Phoenix Hawk, how Heather's going to deal with that.
The weakness of the Battlemaster is when the ammo cooks off. Heavy Gauss rifles will just take the torso and it won't be an issue.
Yeah. You know what? Saying that it's going to survive because it's going to eat enough heavy Gauss rifles to not kill it is kind of a weak way to say that it's going to survive. That's like, oh, I'm going to catch the fastball by putting my face in the way.
I threw like 200 points of damage into it in the first 3 rounds of shooting, and it was still there until round 6.
Damn.
Learn to double up, sir.
It was just trying to stab me with a sword, but...
And see, even James agrees. It's the Imperial Gauss rifle. Imperial.
Improved.
Game number... everybody's got their predictions in now, right? So,
Yep.
moving on to game number 13. Lucky number 13 for the Dead Man's Hand.
I
5
predicted
wins.
by win.
Yeah. 5 wins, 4 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Devil's Brigade, who've dropped out. So, I get a win. Yay, me. I will be there, of course, to help be administration and to just have some fun and visit. But, yeah, that's who it is. If I was to play the Devil's Brigade, to be honest, I don't know who would win. That game against Brandon kind of shook me a little bit. I would come out and play the game I think I can do. So, but
You're capable of playing the game. You're even pretty good at it sometimes.
The Jagermech, I'm just ignoring you. The Jagermech is proficient. It works. If you're gonna crow about that double gauze rifle avatar of Brandon's about how it's a successful mech, you should also be saying the same thing about my Jagermech. Just because you don't like the way it looks doesn't mean it's not effective.
It's successful because people ignore it.
No, they don't. Not once they start getting clipped by gauze rifles.
And he didn't have to spend any skill points to make it useful.
Yeah, he did. I think he had to put case 2 on it, and he had to put lethargic on it.
I can attest, you do not need to put case 2 on that mech.
Somebody else ran that last season.
Yep, that was one of my mechs.
Why would you not have to put case 2 on an avatar?
Because it doesn't take enough damage.
I had 3 mechs forward. Nobody cared about it. It was at the back. It's just like your Jaeger mech, man. If you stick it at the back of the board with 2 gauze rifles and everything else is in your face, it gets ignored. That's how it gets killed. Gets kills, right? You don't need to put case 2. That was wasted points, in my opinion.
No, I needed it for more armor.
No, I'm talking.
Oh, when you put case 2 on, you don't want to risk losing the torso. It's got an XL, and the thing is, he moves it up about a third of the way across the map board, which is, and if you got
different play styles.
Yep. If you got a speedy mech, all of a sudden it's in trouble. It doesn't have enough close range firepower. It's the same thing with the Jaeger mech. If someone's in my face on my Jaeger mech, I'm in trouble, which is why I usually try to have a mech there to help block.
Yeah.
All right, game number 14, Hogan's Heroes. 2 wins. Both of them have been buys. 7 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the first Merrick Militia. 3 wins, 1 was a buy. 5 losses, 1 tie. Phil, I want to see you win. I'd love to see you walk out with an actual earned win versus 2 buy wins. First Merrick's Militia's got a good lance. I'm going to say, Phil, I think you've had enough time in league with your 9 games to actually pull this one out. I'm going to say Hogan's Heroes wins it, but it's going to be a 3-2.
Hogan's Heroes is another one of those ones on paper. It should be doing way better than it is. First American Militia is one of those ones on paper you look at and you go, it probably is doing better than I expected. And I have to actually go with First Merrick on this one. He's actually really pulled it around, surprising me lots with that trebuchet. He's got the power of an awesome behind it all. I think he's got what it takes to put Hogan's down again. I'm going to say 3-1 for First Merrick.
I'm going to call for Phil because I want Phil to win. I just want Phil to get 1 win, at least in regular season. So I'm going to call for Phil, and I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-2.
He's got a good lance. Like
he does. Yes. He does. Yeah.
The 2 snub-nose PPCs. That Bandersnatch is a fun mech. And I don't mean fun as in it's kind of cool. And a pair of LB-10Xs and 3 LRM-5s is not bad firepower. He's got a gunslinger in the back firing out a pair of gauze rifles.
Cerberus.
Sorry. Okay, whatever. Gunslinger, Cerberus. Same damn thing.
No, they're not.
Not even close.
But anything throwing 2 gauze rifles and an assault mechs is Cerberus. Gunslinger, whatever. And then he's got a Marauder. Right? Like, it's not a bad lance. Like, he should be doing well. And it's and his skill selections weren't terrible. He just does not seem to be having much luck.
Excuse me. Sorry.
On paper, I like the Hogan Hero Lance better than the Merrick Lance. First Merrick Militia has been doing good things. They've really fallen into their own. And I think while I really want Hogan's Heroes to come away with the win, I think it's going to be a 3-2 Merrick Militia victory.
Game number 15, we have the Radiant Raven Raiders, 4 wins, 4 losses, and a tie. They're up against the Paxton Pathfinders, 3 wins, 6 losses, 0 ties. These two teams are actually pretty close in the standings. Chris has been a little bit quiet. We haven't been hearing a lot from him, but he's been able to pull out 3 wins this season, which, as we've watched him grow over the past 3, is significantly better than he was last season at this point. First season, couldn't buy a win. Couldn't have anything luck go for him. Second season, he started getting some kills. I think he got a win or 2 in the regular season. This season, he's actually looking at pulling, a third of his games, or almost 40% of his games, as wins. Brandon is significantly solid. Like, I watched him play. It wasn't just good dice rolls that he beat me with. He has his mech's game plan down. The only mech that he doesn't have the perfect skills on is the Night Sky. He took Mountaineering. So the mech that needs to jump almost every turn can now run further. I don't know if it's to get into position, but I don't know what for. It
I actually really like that skill spin. It means that it doesn't have to jump to get into position anymore. It can now use the -1 elevation penalty for up to 3 hexes to do a run move rather than a jump move and be more accurate.
Yeah, but he's not getting any better defensive on it, and the mech doesn't have great armor. So I'm just saying, I'm cool. Give it. And then again, I didn't understand his lance in the first place, right before I faced him. So it could be the perfect move. I would have rather taken a physical attack skill to make that hatchet better, right? Make it hit as 5 tons heavier, right? Then you got a head cleaver, right? But whatever, right? Run with what you want. I think I'd like to say Chris is going to win this, but I really think Brandon's got his lance pretty well tuned. He knows how to play it. I'm going to say the Triple R is going to win, and he's going to win it 4-2.
I have to agree with you on Triple R is going to win this one. As much as I'd like to see Chris win, I think Brandon has a better grasp on what his lance does right now. And I think because of that, we're going to see a 3-2 victory for Triple R.
I know Chris isn't 100% happy with his lance this year.
It's been a struggle from the beginning to try and get it to flow.
Yeah. He knows, he's talked about it, that he's not 100% happy with it, with his choices on the max and stuff like that, but he's still been doing okay.
Big improvements from last season. Big improvements from season 1.
Exactly.
I think if he's with us next season, I really hope he is. I think that's going to be his first where he's at 50% or better, right? Because I think he'll finally kind of gleaned into how the gladiatorial combat of League works. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No worries. I think you are right, though. I think Brandon's going to take the win on this. He's certainly a more aggressive player, and I think that's going to help him in this situation. But I think Jeff's call of 3-2 is probably going to be correct.
Those Radiant Ravens are going to butter them Pathfinder biscuits.
See, people, it's not just his writing style.
No.
It's just
I think it's probably going to be a 3-2 Radiant Raven, whatever his name is.
He did this to us last season, too. He picks a name that is very impossible to say out loud quickly or coherently. You almost have to sound like you're a little bit slow to go Radiant Raven Raiders to make sure you get it out properly.
It's
R cube 3-2.
R cube 3-2.
Radiant Raven Ravers.
So, game number 16, the NAISCIT. 1 win, 7 losses, 1 tie. They're up against the Vengeful Ones. 1 win, 8 losses, 0 ties. I don't even know what to go with this. This is a battle for the basement. There's 2 people who actually are really happy if they're in 32nd place or 31st or whatever we're calling it.
1-1 tie.
Yep. No. Both of them are so unlucky they'll kill one of their own mechs.
Both ejected for cheating when it comes up 1-1 tie.
I'm going to say Todd's going to win this one. Because Todd Lance is not ugly. It's definitely got a purpose to it. and it's got LBXs. If he pokes a hole in any of John's mechs, he's going to get like 8 criticals, and you're just going to watch the mech fall to pieces. I think Todd's going to win it. It's going to be a 3-1 because I don't think John's luck is going to turn around all of a sudden at the end of the regular season.
I think John wants to own that basement so bad that he's not going to get it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
he wants the
he's not
basement
throwing
so
matches.
bad.
It's one of those things where it's not that he doesn't get it because of his luck. It'll be Todd's luck. Todd will fall over on the last turn and destroy an engine on a mech, and it'll bump him up to that the win that he needs.
Because Todd's lost like 2 or 3 games in the very last round.
Yeah, and it's always been crazy shit like that where it's just like something stupid happens, right? And I think John wants to own that basement. He's telling everybody to get the hell out of his basement, and I think he wants it too bad, and I think that Lady Luck's going to be like, no, today you get the win.
Yeah, because John's not throwing the games. He's just not having any luck. Bad things are happening to John. So it's if all of a sudden Lady Luck went, ta-da! Yeah, he could win it. But I think Todd's going to win because I can't see John's luck turning around in the last game.
I think it's going to turn around. I think John's going to
deny himself his one joy.
Yeah, yeah. I think John's going to Lady Luck's going to deny John that one joy, and John's going to win this one, and it'll be 3-2. 4. Let's go 4-3.
I think you are 100% correct, sir. John wants the basement far too bad, and I think Karma's going to turn around and bite him right now, and he's going to get the win. Vengeful Ones are going to win, and it's going to be a 3-2.
Vengeful Ones Lance is just so good on paper. 8 large pulse lasers, a gauze rifle, and a streak 10. He is not going to be able to miss. He is going to have to actively try to lose this game to lose it, and that's not cool. So it's not going to happen. So I'm going to see a Vengeful Ones 4-2 victory this time, just because that's the way that it's going to roll.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've been saying that all season. Like from the first 5 games of the season, we said the Alliance can't fail. You just have too much firepower. You're doing potentially 105 points of damage per turn with -2 to hit for 80 points of that damage, which then got better as the season went on and he bought skills and just didn't appear. It just never happened.
Oh, I don't care how much damage his Lance does. he could be rolling AC2s and Ultra 2s. He's still going to win this one because Karma's going to come around and just bite him because he wants it too bad.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's I don't disagree with you guys because I could totally see that happening to John. Lady Luck going, nope. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, well, that is actually the end of our show. We're just now on to our summary and closing. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to watch. Live shows have been interesting. They require me doing 0 editing and producing, as you can tell from the polish and skill we show. Thank you for the script writing, Brett. We massacre it, make fun of it, but we couldn't do it without you.
Happy to be part of the team.
We could if we paid somebody.
Have you got money? I didn't make any money. I didn't make any money in Vegas. I lost money.
No. We could if we paid somebody.
Yes.
That's how we replace Brett, right? If we were paying somebody. Otherwise, no, we're stuck with Brett.
Yeah.
And keep up the good job, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, man. What I did want to mention is, for the league members who are watching this video, spread the word to the rest of the people. We need to hear nominations. We have 3 awards we give out. We're thinking about maybe adding more next year. If we don't get nominations and we don't get votes, there's no point doing the awards. Good Egg, who do you think is the best person to play in League? Master Tactician, who do you think plays the best game? Can be all season, could be a losing season, could be whatever. But if you think that they've done a phenomenally good job of running, playing, and sticking to tasks,
knowing their shit,
yeah, that's a Master Tactician, right? And then finally, there's the Phoenix Hawks Blunder Award. I have a different opinion than Brett does. I think that any stupid stupid move, whether it worked or didn't, that could potentially cost the player the game or cost them the game, they should be nominated for the Phoenix Hawk Blunder Award. The Falk Award, as Heather named it. Because that's a good one, because it's good to be reminded of the fun stuff. Right? The oops, the mistake, the oh wow, I shouldn't have done that. Or oh wow, I did that. That shouldn't have worked and it did. Right? Because that's definitely not a master tactician. you fluke a move out. You did not tactician that one out. But yeah, those are the ones that I want, as well as league members. We accept recommendations for things we should add to league. We have links to that on our Discord. We have links to that on our Facebook. We also have things you can take IR codes on the board that you can link to go to the recommendations and nominations links. And then finally on that, anybody who's watching the show, if you have ideas, you can send them to our email. You can comment to them on Discord if you're not a league member, but you're our Discord member, and you can also do it on Facebook. We take
or
all
just comment on the show notes.
Yeah, we take recommendations. They may not get put in, but great ideas can come from the weirdest places. So send them in, take a look at them. We'll see what we can do. We definitely don't use all of them because some of them are crazy, like they're amazingly wild. But we definitely look at them and we do debate them. 3 of us on here, OG, Brett, and I spend hours discussing this stuff. Anyway, thank you. Have a good night, and on to you guys.
Thanks for joining us again. Doing the live shows is always a blast, so appreciate seeing everybody who comes out to watch them. And thanks to, technically what we have, one more before...
Yeah, wrap up of the regular season, and then we have ones for the playoffs, but that's in January. It starts in January.
Yeah, next show is pre-playoff show.
Yeah, so... thanks to everybody who's joining and having me. I've enjoyed the hell out of this all season. And I wish you all the best of luck next game, guys. And we'll see you, I guess, Sunday. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been fun. I enjoy the live shows much more than the pre-recorded stuff. It also gives Lee a nice break from having to do editing on things.
Making us sound good, because if you think we sound good in the actual recorded stuff, thank you if you actually think we sound good. But yeah, this live stuff is way easier, though we do have to control our language a little bit more.
No, we don't. Nah. Anyways, no. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Yeah, like the others have said, don't forget to nominate folks for the awards. Don't forget to drop down suggestions and all that jazz. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Coming in late, going out early. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and give some suggestions, likes, hit those icons, leave comments in the comment section. Let us know what you want to see during off season, because before we know it, that'll be around